Surprise, surprise, guys. Who would have thought it? Today we have some hugely unexpected news that nobody saw coming, especially those who have watched my recent videos. So, the House panel votes to constrain Afghan drawdown, asks for assessment on incentives to attack US troops. Here we go again, boys. It's time for the whole new circumstantial evidence leads to increasing war, useless war, and then in 5 years' time we'll realize, oh, it wasn't even true. The whole thing was a farce, and who would have thought it? Oh, that's right, the entire left-wing media fell for it. And yeah, I mean, it's some serious fraudulence happening here. We all knew that. I mean, I made a video earlier on how hypocritical the left-wing media, mainstream media is on criticizing Trump for not, engaging and responding to circumstantial evidence that Russia may be, sorta, kinda, maybe has set bounties on the heads of American troops, which is, if they are doing that, is horrible, and I don't think they would be, because because Putin isn't stupid, and he has his own thing going on domestically where he's trying to basically make himself king until 2036. But that's a different topic. But listen, if you fell for this whole thing of we're staying in Afghanistan because there might be some potential evidence that the Russians are kind of maybe paying bounties for American heads, you're stupid. This is the exact same thing they did in 2004. It's always circumstantial evidence that they make it seem like, oh, this is God's word. This is fact. And you have to act on those potential circumstantial evidence, and then as a result, we stop Trump's plan to take out to remove troops from Afghanistan, which is what he ran on, and same old, really. It shows you the level of fraudulence, especially that it's in the House, by the way. So the House is controlled by Democrats, so these are supposedly progressives. And guess what? They're not really progressive, because when it comes down to it, they're going to always side with the military-industrial complex. When it's really time, push comes to shove, they will always side with the war, and the useless war, and spending trillions of dollars in Afghanistan for no reason. And so this is always going to come. I don't think I'm really surprised by it, but I think it's horrible. And I hope to God, even though I have no hope that it won't pass the Senate, that it'll become like a thing that they pass. But I hope to God that it doesn't happen, because we really need to get out of all of the wars, Afghanistan, Libya, Iraq, all those useless wars. We're trying to rebuild a country that's not even ours. It's never going to work, and no matter how much money and military you have there, it's never going to work. And yeah, so this kind of doesn't come as a shock, but it shows you the real level of fraudulence that is happening up on Capitol Hill at the moment. And it shows also why we need these anti-establishment people that actually have principles and don't, just do whatever. This includes Joe Biden, by the way, because Joe Biden was also, talking about how Trump did a horrible job on this, when really he did the best job possible. I think you should, obviously, the fact he didn't read it isn't good, but the fact that he didn't respond to it is very good, because why are we going to attack countries that we like based off of maybe information, based off of unreliable sources that even the CIA came out and said isn't very reliable? And we shouldn't take it as a fact. We should take it as a potential suspicion, but we shouldn't act militarily on potential suspicions, right? We shouldn't act like we did in 2004 when we invaded Iraq because we heard maybe they might have potentially some weapons of mass destruction, and then 5 years later it turns out they didn't actually have any. Big shock, am I right? No, it wasn't a big shock. We all knew that was fucking lie. And Joe Biden is partly responsible for, manifesting that lie, and so is John Bolton, by the way. So just some more fraudulence on the side of the Dems, and on the side of politicians in DC right now. And the saddest thing is that it's nothing surprising. So yesterday they said, they blocked Rand Paul's bill because they said, oh, but it might mess up Trump's plan to remove troops. But then now today they're going to block Trump from removing his troops. So which one is it, guys? That's right. It's always military-industrial complex. And it just hurts my head a lot to see this, and I hope Justice Democrats and that whole movement, and even the Tea Party. Listen, it doesn't have to be it just has to be anti-establishment people that have real principles and aren't going to send troops and money to useless wars that nobody cares about. And then the second they're going to bring them home, we're gonna make a whole new deal about something that's really useless.